Welcome back to another episode of Marcel Hyde Mindset. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking time out of your day to sit down and listen to the message that I am producing on this podcast episode here today. And, I really value everybody's time. I really understand the importance of time. So I really try to do my best to prepare myself prior to coming on these videos. I just don't want to be someone that rants about nothing and you've sat through 50 minutes of your time and you got nothing from it. I try to keep these videos as short as possible because I know people's attention span is not the greatest anymore. It's difficult with social media now because we're used to things, happening so quick. TikTok is like whatever, under 30 seconds most of the time. If we can even sit through 30-second videos anymore, people just want to go scroll through to the next video immediately. So we're losing that skill of sitting down and actually, listening to an episode for 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, right? So we got to get that skill back because if we're only listening to short clips, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, is that actually going to give us enough information to really help us grow in our life and in our journey? Probably not. All right. So today's episode, there's 4 topics that I will be discussing. The first one is protect your reputation. One decision can ruin what you built. Okay. The second topic is let go and let God lead your life. And the third topic is people you follow are also human. So be careful who you listen to. All right. And the fourth and final topic, which I'm going to briefly go over, is can you sit through a 2-hour workshop, training, or seminar? All right. So those are the 4 topics I'm going to discuss on this episode. So go press pause, grab your notebook and your pen, and take some notes. All right. So let's talk about protecting your reputation. And your one decision can ruin what you built. Okay. So I'll just give a quick example. I was working with an individual a couple of years back, and he was with the company for 20 years. All right. And he had this great reputation in the company. Everyone said such great things about him. He communicated well, he was sharp, he was on point, he was honest. And one day, the general manager of the company asked him a question and he lied. And the general manager knew he lied. All the workers knew he lied. His coworkers knew he lied. And from there, he ruined his reputation. The 20 years that he built of people trusting him based on one decision that he made, he ruined his reputation. All right. So remember, your one decision can ruin your whole reputation. So before you act, I know at times it becomes difficult if you're emotional or, you want to cover up for something or someone, and then, you just think, oh, lying is the best option. But lying can actually hurt you more than the other person because moving forward, that general manager will never trust that individual. Although he's been trusted for the past 20 years, that one decision he made in that given moment just ruined his whole reputation. And that's all you have is your reputation. This is how people know you. And once you ruin that reputation, it's hard to get that reputation that you had before back. It's gone. Now people see you in that way. They don't see you as the honest person anymore. They see you as a liar, right? So protect your reputation at all costs, all right? Second topic of discussion is I want to talk about is letting go and letting God. All right, too many times we, want to be the person in the driver's seat in our life. We don't want to allow God to take the wheel and direct our life. And then, when we're the ones driving, we're heading in the wrong direction. We're not going where we're actually supposed to be going because we're not letting God take the wheel and lead us. We don't want to be a passenger to God. We want to tell God, this is where we're going, and you're going to be following me. And then we end up in places that we don't want to be. We end up in situations we don't want to be. But if this resonates with you and you're someone that you ended up in a situation you didn't want to be in, you ended up in a place you didn't want to be in, then now's the time to surrender to God and let God take the wheel of your life. And he will guide you. He will direct you. He will lead you. He will let you know what the next step is in your life. You haven't got the results that you want in your life. So now's the time to give it up to God. You're not going to be able to figure it out on your own and do it your way. It's God's way. God will tell you this is the way you're supposed to go. So let go and let God is my second point that I want to emphasize in this video. Is it time for you to let go and just let God lead your life? Are you someone that has been trying to lead your own life for a long time and you're not getting the results you want? You're not moving forward? You know, now is the perfect time as we're entering the fourth month of the year to make that shift, right? The first 3 months you did on your own. The last 10 years you've been doing on your own. Now's the perfect time, all right? And the perfect thing about God is when you decide to turn to him, his back's not turned, although you have had your back turned to him. God is right there standing in front of you, welcoming you with open arms, saying, I'm ready to lead you and bring you to a place that I have created for you, designed for your life, all right? So let go and let God. The third point is, remember, social media is beautiful, and I have so many discussions with people about social media, how, some people say social media is totally terrible and they've decided not to watch social media at all. Some people say they've learned so much from social media. Some people said their attitude has changed from social media. Some people said social media has ruined relationships. So for me, social media is a tool, and I believe everybody should use social media as a tool. And if you're someone that you find that it's taken over your life, that it's ruined your relationships, it's, made you try to live a lifestyle or, travel the world because you see other people traveling, but yet you don't have the finances. It's made you now have low self-esteem because now you see someone that's better looking than you and you're like, oh, I don't look like that, so it doesn't make me worthy. Then, social media is working against you, right? But if you're someone that is maybe creating content, you have a business now, you're posting on social media, you're using social media. So don't let social media use you. You use social media. All right. That's why it's here. And you are the person in control. You decide what you want to see. And if your algorithm's all messed up, it's because, what you're deciding to stay on or look at for long periods of time. You could change your algorithm of what you really want to be seeing. So focus on what you want to be seeing and that will be outputted back to you. All right. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of people on social media. There's a lot of different opinions, and props to everybody that comes online and has their opinion, because every single individual is entitled to opinion. I never want to take anybody's opinion from them because it's all based on, maybe their life experience, what they experience with different people, but use your own judgment. Too many times people follow these people like gods. And I'm not going to call anybody out in particular because that's not my style. That's not the personal brand I'm building, is to come on here and break somebody else down and say, this person was like this. They had an image on social media. Now they're dealing with the case. But there's somebody on social media, I'm not going to say their name specifically. There's someone that I actually listened to, they popped on my algorithm because they had some good mindset and personal development tips that I listened to. Recently, they have found themselves arrested, right? But I never agreed with everything they said. I never stuck to everything they said in all aspects of life. Like, there's certain things I disagreed with. There's certain things I skipped past because I didn't like. But I took what I really liked and I applied it. And that's what you need to do to other people, is like, listen to them, take the information that you think applies to you and apply it in your life. Don't listen to someone and then every single word that they say you're listening to and you're doing. Their experience could be completely different from yours. They could be in a different city, right? They could come from a different religion, culture. So it's going to be different, but take certain things from them. No one's going to be perfect online, right? Now, everybody's knocking this individual. They're saying, oh, there's a bad person, this and that. But when they were online speaking, you were glorifying them. You were, worshiping them essentially like they were a god, right? So you shouldn't worship anybody online like they're a god, because nobody is. Everybody that comes online, each one of them has flaws. Every single person, they're still a human being at the end of the day. So stop worshiping people online. Use your own judgment. And remember, social media isn't the standard. It's not the standard for relationships, right? Because you'll have people that claim they're experts. They'll come on and say, this is what a relationship should be like. But yet they're divorced or they're not with anybody. They're single. And it's just like, how are you giving relationship advice, but you're divorced or you're single, right? Maybe you could give relationship advice on what it's like to be divorced, But you can't come online and give relationship advice if you're not in a relationship, or you haven't worked on a relationship, or people that are in different, or people that claim this is how you run a business, but they've never run a business. So that's why I'm saying be careful who we're listening to, because it can actually ruin your life. Because, you know, people are impressionable. They listen to what people say and then they do it. And then they maybe ruin a good relationship that they had. All right. So people you are following on social media, be very careful, because they are human beings as well. Right. And the last point that I'm making for this video here today is, can you sit through a 2 hour workshop or training? And the reason why I'm saying this to you is because nowadays, with instant gratification, a lot of people have difficulty sitting down for 2, 3 hours. Maybe it's a workshop or seminar, and taking notes and really listening to the speaker, whatever. Let's say it's a personal, because I love personal development and self-help. So I'll listen to a 2 hour long, personal development workshop, and I'll sit there and I'll take notes. But if I were to tell somebody this, they would say, I can't sit there for 2 hours. But my thing is, like, you can't afford not to sit there for 2 hours, because this information is going to help you in your life, right? It's going to help you get further in your life. So if you're someone, you're at a certain point, maybe you're stuck, you need to be sitting down for workshops in whatever area maybe you're stuck in, and learning from professionals, learning from individuals that are at places that you want to be, that you want to be, that have, done the things that you want to do. Sit down and listen to them, and they should be able to show you their results, right? They should be able to show you that I've accomplished this, I've achieved this, I've gone through this and I've overcome that. And maybe you're going through the similar thing as that they've gone through. And now you could sit down for an hour or 2 hours and listen to them and write down some notes, and then reflect, self-reflection, and be like, okay, what are some things I can change to improve myself? Or if it's like someone that's speaking on finances, you sit down, you listen to them, and then you look at your life and you're like, okay, I need to make these adjustments. But if you're just looking at clips all the time and not really sitting down listening to podcasts, long form podcasts, a training or a workshop, then how do you expect yourself to grow? How do you expect yourself to get to that next level, right? It takes a lot of, discipline, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of education and learning to really elevate yourself, all right? So make sure you guys are taking that time to do that, all right? So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share this video to a friend, a family member, or just someone that, maybe you're struggling with something. Maybe you heard something on here and you're like, oh, I spoke to my friend and they were talking about this, about, maybe it was like worshiping someone on social media, or maybe it was like they're not able to sit down for 30 minutes and listen to a talk that's going to help them, budget their money better, right? So share this episode. I hope you guys are learning as much as I am. I hope you guys are enjoying life. You're growing each and every single day. All right. Remember that this is a process, and to enjoy the process. Nothing happens overnight. I want to remind you of that. Just keep evolving each and every single day, and eventually you'll get to where you want to be. And then when you get to where you want to be, it's not going to be the end. You're still going to have to grow even more, right? So it's never ending. You're always going to be growing until you decide you don't want to grow anymore. All right. So be a student of life. Help some people out there, right? Share this video. If your friend has a video and they're creating content, share their video, show them some support, give them some tips to help them. And maybe the universe or God will bless you. All right. All right. Peace and love. Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of Marcel Hyde Mindset. Until next time, my friends. Peace.